So many men past the age of 60 get up each day feeling like they've already experienced the best life has to offer. They glance downwards, let out a soft sigh, and simply accept what they believe to be the inevitable effects of getting older. But I'm here to tell you that's just not true. What if I told you that dedicating just 3 minutes each morning could send out such a strong message that it awakens the very part of your body that's been dormant for years? I'm Dr. Anya Sharma, and I specialize in men's health with over 30 years of experience in clinical practice. I've had the privilege of working with countless men all over the country, retired teachers, war veterans, former athletes, men who once believed it was far too late to ever feel like themselves again. And yet, I've witnessed them come back to life, not through medications or surgery, but through something much simpler and far more natural. You see, the real issue isn't your age, and it isn't low testosterone levels. It's that your body hasn't been getting the proper biological signals, particularly in the morning when your system is most open to change. What you're about to discover today is the precise 3-minute ritual that reignites blood flow, hormone response, and even your morning erections without needing a single pill. So please, stay with me, because in just a few moments, I'll share an extra step that can double your results. It's something that 99% of men never consider. But first, let's finally address why your manhood hasn't disappeared. It's simply waiting for you to bring it back to life. Before we continue, please be sure to click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another science-backed tip designed to naturally help you regain your strength and manhood. And if this message is already resonating with you, type 1 in the comments below. If not, type 0. Your input helps me to better serve you. Now, let's get started with the truth that most men never hear. Your manhood isn't failing because of your age, it's merely fallen asleep. And if you've been waking up without any signs of life down there, don't worry. The problem isn't damage, it's silence. And silence can be overcome. Let me explain. 1. Your manhood isn't failing, it's falling asleep. I'll never forget the look in George's eyes. He was a 72-year-old patient sitting across from me, his shoulders slumped, his voice barely audible. "Doc," he said, "I think I've lost that part of myself. Maybe forever." I leaned forward, placed my hand gently on his arm, and told him what I'm about to tell you. Your manhood hasn't failed you. It's not broken. It's simply become quiet. You see, over the years, many men mistake silence for damage. They think that because there's no response, something must be wrong. But what's really happening is that the systems responsible for arousal, blood flow, nerves, and hormones have stopped receiving clear signals. Not because they're too old to work, but because they haven't been asked to. Your body responds to what you give it. And when there's no movement, no message, no deliberate cue, your manhood, like a muscle that's never used, begins to fall asleep. But here's the good news. It's still there, waiting for you to wake it up. And the very first place to begin isn't with a pill, but with the first hour of your day. Because believe it or not, how you start your morning may be the single biggest reason why your body still feels stuck. And the morning mistakes that most men make are far more damaging than you might think. Let me show you exactly what's happening. 2. The morning window that most men waste. There was a time not long ago when I was making the same mistake that I now caution my patients about. I'd wake up feeling groggy, rub my eyes, and before I even got out of bed, I was scrolling through emails, news, or just nonsense on my phone. No water, no movement, no real breathing, just straight into the chaos of the day. And I couldn't understand why I always felt so depleted, so disconnected, like something inside was shutting down. But it wasn't until I started observing my patients more closely, men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, that the truth became undeniable. Morning isn't just the start of your day, it's a biological trigger. And when you ignore it, your entire system, blood vessels, hormones, even your nervous system, stays half asleep. Most men don't realize it, but the first 30 to 60 minutes after waking up is when your body is most receptive to healing. It's when circulation should naturally restart, when your hormones begin to regulate, and when your manhood is quietly waiting for a signal to come online. Skip that window, and you stay in low-power mode all day, physically, mentally, and sexually. I've seen men turn things around in less than a week simply by reclaiming their mornings. So, if you've been waking up and rushing through your routine on autopilot, it's time to take a hard look at what you're doing or not doing. Because once you recognize the power of a proper morning ritual, you'll understand exactly why those missing erections aren't about age, they're about timing. And it all starts with one forgotten reflex that tells your body it's ready to rise again. Let me show you what that is. 3. Why your morning erection matters more than you think. I remember one of my patients, Mark, 68, who came into my office visibly frustrated. "Doc," he said, "I don't even care about sex anymore. I just want to feel normal when I wake up. I want that sign that my body's still alive." That really struck me because what he was describing wasn't about performance or ego, it was about identity. You see, a morning erection isn't just a sexual event, it's a physiological marker, a built-in health signal that your circulatory system is working, that your nervous system is intact, and that your hormonal balance hasn't flatlined. It's the body's quiet way of saying, "I'm still here. I still respond. I still work." When that signal disappears, men often assume it's just a part of aging, but that's not the whole story. It usually means your blood vessels are tightening, your nitric oxide levels are dropping, or your pelvic floor muscles have weakened from disuse. And what makes it worse is how silently it happens. No pain, no warning, just absence. Like something slowly fading into the background until you forget it was ever there. But here's the truth. Even if it's been weeks, months, or years since your last natural morning reflex, it's not gone. It can come back. And the first step to reviving it is understanding how to trigger your body's biological switch, the one that reactivates blood flow without a pill or a prescription. And that's where this simple 3-minute ritual begins to change everything. Let me break it down for you. 4. The science of the 3-minute morning ritual. When I first started sharing this ritual with my older patients, most of them looked at me like I was oversimplifying their problems. 3 minutes? That's it, they'd ask. And I understand. When you've spent years trying prescriptions, supplements, even surgeries with little to no results, something this simple almost feels insulting. But science doesn't lie, and biology responds to rhythm, not complexity. What this 3-minute ritual does is reintroduce the exact signals your body is craving: hydration, motion, and biological fuel. 2 glasses of plain room temperature water thin out the blood and kickstart nitric oxide production. That's the molecule your blood vessels need to relax and expand, especially in the pelvic area. Then comes movement. Just 2 or 3 minutes of light stretching, breathing exercises, or walking around the room. It's enough to wake up the nervous system and get blood flowing where it hasn't been flowing in years. And finally, the right breakfast. Not sugary cereal or coffee on an empty stomach, but something that feeds your hormones: boiled eggs, berries, yogurt, and seeds. These small choices send big messages. They tell your body, it's time to perform again. I've watched men who felt numb for a decade start waking up with life in their body again because they finally gave their system what it was asking for. But if you still think this sounds too easy, just wait until you hear what happened to Richard, one of my most inspiring patients, and how 7 simple mornings completely changed his life. 5. A real patient case of coming back to life. Richard was 66 when he first came to my clinic. A former high school principal, he carried himself with quiet dignity, but you could see the weight in his eyes. After a few questions, he finally opened up. "I did everything right in life," he said. "But somewhere along the way, I let go of that part of myself." He didn't mean sex. He meant identity, that feeling of aliveness, the simple morning confirmation that his body still remembered who he was. I gave him no prescriptions, no procedures, just the 3-minute ritual: water, movement, a proper breakfast. I asked him to do it for 7 days without overthinking it. He nodded, but I could tell he wasn't convinced. A week later, he sent me a short email that nearly brought tears to my eyes. It said, "I woke up this morning, and I felt like I'm coming back." That's the moment so many men are silently craving. Not performance, not bravado, just the return of connection, of presence, of control. When blood starts moving again, when the nerves begin to fire, and when you feel even the faintest morning pulse, it's not just physical, it's emotional, it's personal. But what if I told you this transformation doesn't take months? That just days into this process, your body already begins sending early signs of life? That's what we'll explore next, and you'll want to listen closely because those signs can be subtle or incredibly powerful. 6. What changes you can expect in 7, 14, and 30 days. One of the first questions men ask me is, "Doc, how long will it take before I feel something again?" It's a fair question. When you've lived in silence for so long, Even a flicker of response feels like a miracle. But the truth is, your body is more responsive than you think. It just needs consistency, 3 minutes a day, and it will start to answer. By day 7, many men report sleeping more deeply, waking up without that heavy mental fog, and, most importantly, starting to notice small, subtle sensations down there. Again, not full erections, not yet, but tingles, warmth, or a low-level firmness in the early hours of the morning. These are the first signs that blood flow is returning. By day 14, things get stronger. Hormones begin to rebalance. Your mood lifts, and a quiet kind of confidence returns. You find yourself standing taller, thinking clearer, and, without even realizing it, feeling like you're reclaiming something you thought was gone. By day 30, many men see full results, consistent morning erections, natural arousal, and the kind of spontaneous intimacy they thought they'd lost forever. And all of it began with 3 minutes of intention. But if you've tried before and failed, you might be wondering, why does this work when other things didn't? What makes this ritual different from the pills, the procedures, and the promises? And the answer lies in what most men are still doing wrong even when they try to get better. Let me explain. 7. Why most men never recover and how you will. I've seen countless men walk into my office carrying not just the weight of physical frustration but emotional defeat. Many of them have tried everything. Little blue pills, hormone shots, gadgets that promised miracles. And when those failed, they quietly told themselves the worst. Maybe this is just how it ends for me. But I'm here to tell you that belief is the real problem. Most men never recover because they chase quick fixes instead of rebuilding the foundation. Pills might push your body into action temporarily, but they don't teach it how to heal. They bypass the system. They override the natural rhythm your body depends on. So, the moment you stop taking them, everything falls right back down. The men who do recover and stay strong are the ones who stop forcing and start reconditioning. They treat their body like a system, not a machine. They send the right signals at the right time with patience and purpose. And that's where this morning ritual shines. It doesn't shock your body. It reminds it how to perform naturally, rhythmically, reliably. You're not broken, you're disconnected. And the moment you reconnect your mind, breath, and blood flow to your core identity as a man, things start to shift. Now, if you're ready to take this even further, if you want to multiply the results you've already seen, there's one simple addition to this routine that can double your progress in days. It's natural, it's powerful, and chances are it's already in your kitchen. Let me show you. 8. Bonus support. One ingredient that supercharges results. Sometimes it's the simplest things that make the biggest difference. I had a patient named Joel, 74, quiet, skeptical, and fiercely independent. He followed the morning ritual just as I outlined: water, movement, clean breakfast. But after a week, he asked, "Is there anything else I can do to speed things up?" I smiled and told him about one small addition I often save for men who are truly committed. It's nothing fancy or expensive, just a pinch of Himalayan salt and a squeeze of lemon in your morning water. But this simple mix does something powerful. The salt provides essential trace minerals your blood vessels need to relax: magnesium, potassium, sodium, in just the right balance. The lemon stimulates digestion, supports the liver, and helps your body better produce and regulate testosterone. Together, they create the perfect internal environment for blood flow and hormonal response. Most men report feeling warmer, clearer, and more energized within minutes. It's like flipping a biological light switch, one that tells your body, wake up, perform, flow. Joel tried it. 2 days later, he came back with a grin I hadn't seen before. "I don't know what's happening," he said, "but I feel alive again." That's the power of one extra layer of support, timed perfectly with the signals your body's already starting to recognize. But even with the right signals, many men still struggle because they've forgotten the deeper meaning behind the process. And once you understand that, everything changes. Let's go there next. 9. Your morning is your message to the body. Every morning, whether you realize it or not, you're having a conversation with your body. The way you wake up, what you choose to do or not do, those first few minutes are like sending a message. And that message is either, "I'm here, I'm alive, I'm in control," or it's silence. For years, I didn't fully understand this myself. I used to think healing was about doing more supplements, more routines, more rules. But what I've come to learn, and what I teach my patients now, is that healing begins when you speak the body's language again. And that language is rhythm, breath, movement, and care. That's why this 3-minute morning ritual works. It's not just a routine. It's a message, a biological reminder that says, I'm still paying attention. I haven't given up. And the body listens. It may not respond in a day or even a week, but when it feels consistent care, it slowly begins to reopen. Your blood vessels become more responsive, your hormones stabilize, your nervous system relaxes into a sense of trust again. And from that, vitality begins to rise, not forced, but earned. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present. Because once your body senses your intention, it doesn't need to be pushed. It begins to perform because it wants to. But there's one last truth I need to leave you with, something men rarely hear, yet it might be the most powerful part of this entire process. Let's bring it home. 10 final words. This is how you return to power. I want you to hear this not just with your ears, but with your heart. Your body has never abandoned you. It's just been waiting for the right message, the right rhythm, the right moment to return. And now that moment is in your hands. I've watched men who once felt invisible, ashamed, even defeated, men who thought the fire had gone out for good, stand back up quietly, steadily, with dignity in their chest, and life returning to their mornings. And every time, it starts the same way, not with a breakthrough drug, not with a doctor's miracle, but with a decision, a simple one, the choice to show up for yourself every morning for just 3 minutes. When you hydrate your blood, move your muscles, and nourish your system, you're doing more than following a routine. You're reclaiming ownership of your manhood, of your energy, of the part of you that never truly left. It was only waiting for the door to be opened again. This isn't about chasing your youth, it's about reconnecting to your presence. And once that presence returns, everything else begins to fall back into place. Your focus, your confidence, your intimacy, your strength. Now that you know the truth, and the tools are in your hands, there's only one thing left to do. But before we close, I want to leave you with something powerful, something that ties this entire journey together and gives it lasting meaning. Let's finish strong. 11. Conclusion. So, here's what we now know. Your manhood didn't disappear, it fell asleep. And with just 3 minutes each morning, you can wake it back up. I've seen it in Richard, in Joel, in countless others who stopped waiting for a miracle and started sending the right signals. Water, movement, nourishment, done consistently with care. That's the quiet path back to power. And if no one's told you this lately, let me be the one. It's not too late, you're not too old, and your best mornings might still be ahead. All you have to do is begin.